that's the core of the issue is that we it's interesting because the reason why I like to bring this up because we're kind of in a situation as Americans where like, well, where are we going next? Right. So I think people agree manufacturing won't come back overnight, but the question is like, well, I was having the same argument with a friend of mine. I wanted him to get on here because he goes hard. He's on all of y'all side. He's on the same page. And we was having that same conversation about 2 hours ago. And he was like, "Well, I don't like the way he's doing it. I think maybe if the premise he's right, but we don't like the way he's doing it." And I was like, I feel that, but then at the same time, like, well, if you have a cancer that you haven't dealt with in a long time, by the time you actually start to put the medicine on it, it's going to be intrusive. It's going to be turbulent. So I was like, well, if you're gonna reset trade between countries, I haven't seen anybody introduce something that wouldn't be chaotic. And to your point, Savvy, is like I was watching an interview with Mark Lamont Hill. He was interviewing Richard Wolff, a respected economist, and Richard Wolff said something that was interesting. And I want to get y'all opinion on this. So what Richard Wolff was saying was that he felt like what Trump is doing is out of desperation, and he was saying that it's it's the thing is that he said the reason why Trump is doing it is that he doesn't want to be the politician or nobody wants to be the one to say that it's over for the American empire. So I was like, maybe that's what it is. No one really has a better alternative way to do it, but some people just feel like it's over. So do y'all think it's like over for the American empire and we're just going to be number 2, or is there something, or do y'all feel like in that respect should Trump be fighting to reset these things to change the country, or you feel like it's too late?
American, we think we're number one, but we're not. We're not the richest nation. We're not the big kid on the block. That's just something that Americans think. So it's been
Mm,
over for us, right?
Yeah.
Look over at China. Look at Japan. Other countries are kicking our butts. If you look at education, healthcare, we're not top.
mm.
So
And if it's really a matter of him wanting to not be the president who gets us there, you're really working the opposite because you're alienating all of our allies while you're doing this. So we're falling down the food chain no matter what.
yep.
So
Okay.
you know what I mean. So it's just not the right course of action. If there's an end game, if the end game is to get us to more manufacturing jobs in America, address your people and say, hey, it's going to hurt for a little while. Say something to that effect. Tell us
Well, he did.
when.
He did say exactly that, but people don't. I think people heard it who wanted to hear it because he literally said that. But then there are people who just like. I think the hatred for Trump is so for people who don't like him. They just don't. They ain't even hearing that because they're like,
Well,
"Yo, you know what I'm saying?" So
and
he did.
and
He,
and that's the problem. I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why we're unable to unify and we're unable to hear the message is because people don't like Trump, and that in itself is a problem. I feel like we
okay.
take that so lightly, like, oh, the people that wanted to hear it, people that wanted to receive it. Well, part of your job as a president is to unify the country
Right.
and to operate the office
Build
with some
trust.
integrity.
Yes.
And,
And
and I will
it's
come
very
back
much
to
possible to have
something
the right
like
idea, but go about it in the wrong way. Like you're
the
doing the
wrong
wrong.
way.
The
And
idea
that
may be correct,
Yep.
but how you're doing it is
exactly.
not
And that
necessarily going to be. That's the problem.
and that is, to me, I think that's one of the biggest problems. Because like you said, he might have the right idea about certain things, right? But if you don't deliver the message in a way that is calm and unifying in a way that people can truly understand, and you're coming off in a hateful, um, bitter, angry, divisive way, you people are not going to they're not going to hear your message. They're not going to hear anything you're saying because human nature, we're not going to hear what some you can't stand somebody, you're not hearing nothing they saying. And so
That's true.
he has a duty to not only deliver the message in a way that's inclusive, in a way that is with integrity, that everybody can receive,
Hmm.
but he needs to also go about doing things in a way that is going to be the least initially detrimental. Yeah, there's some things you can't avoid. Some things are just going to hurt. Got it.
Hmm.
Okay? Prepare yourself for it, you deal with it. But I'm going to keep going back to something that B said a long time ago, and I just still love this analogy about the garbage can lid. When you're serving up a good meal, do you serve it on a nice plate or do you serve it on a garbage can lid? How you deliver that
Yeah,
makes a really big difference on how people are
yeah.
going to
Mm,
receive it.
true.
So he keeps coming with the garbage can lid to people that he knows are have more refined taste. Like, I want the meal, but I don't want to eat it like that. Come to me in a way that's going to be respectful. Come to me in a way that shows me that you value my
But he
opinion.
has no
You
incentive
value
to. That's the thing. He's in a
and
position where there's really nothing that would incentivize him to speak to the country in that manner.
and that's where the lack of integrity comes in, and that is a problem. So people saying, oh, you don't like Trump, you don't like Trump,
What
but
is that?
because you're not hearing the message, he's got good policies and all this and other and that. Well, and they act like that's no big deal, that you're just so ignorant and you just don't know what you're talking about because you don't like Trump, you're making it about him. Well, he's making it about him, and that makes it difficult for the country to be in the place that it could possibly and potentially be, because he's making it that way.
Surround himself with
Well, you know what?
competent people. Like the people he put in place are not competent. So let's say that meal looks delicious, but the person who cooked it, they're not capable of putting forth a great meal. So on top of him making it
They
about
didn't season
himself,
it right.
he puts people in place who are not fit for the positions he's putting them in.
There is absolutely zero reason Elon Musk should be a part of our government. What
Oh my
what
Oh,
what what is
we
why is
gonna
he
get
there?
to Elon Musk. We gonna get to Elon Musk because that's the we gonna get there.
There is
Trust me,
zero
we
reason for
gonna
his
get there.
presence in our government.
But
Oh
yeah, well, no,
Lord.
well, we gonna get there because we gonna get there. Before we get to Elon, though, I want to stay on this for a minute now. Now, the thing is that, and I love that we having this conversation because I feel like you know everybody wants everybody to agree and see through the same lens. So I think it's important. Now, I am not a Trumper per se, but I don't have the same disdain that maybe y'all have per se because I'm looking at some different things. However, I do think it's important for people to talk about how they feel and how they see stuff. And I think the more more people don't talk and understand why people feel the way they feel, then it gets even more very culty. It becomes very culty, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, all that stuff. So I think that like Taja, you were saying, I know it's frustrating, but I think it's good to have these conversations because we got to get out of our corner and start having conversations as Americans. That's how I see it. So let me ask y'all on that point now. The the hate for Donald Trump, I do understand it. Um, but I also find it very interesting. It's so interesting to me because it's so polarizing. So let me ask y'all, did y'all feel that way about 45 Trump? Or is it just 47 Trump? How did y'all feel of 45 Trump?
The
The
same
Same,
for
same.
but
both.
he's just
And
gotten
Gina,
worse
let Gina
now.
rock out because Gina hasn't said much.
No, the same for both. Couldn't stand him
Okay.
then, and I can't stand him now.
You didn't like him at 45.
Absolutely not.
Now, what turned you off about 45 Trump? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, it wasn't just the fact he was running. I mean, everything he's done before that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's just ridiculous. Especially for me, the exonerated five, that whole
Oh my
case,
God.
I mean, that was
Okay.
absolutely insane. Okay, so
Okay.
no, no, I was never for Trump, never liked anything he did. I don't care how close he was to celebrities and all, being in the park. I didn't care about any of that. No,
Got you.
no.
So it was a wrap for him. It was a wrap for him regardless,
Yes,
personally. Got you.
yes,
And that's
Well,
fair.
he's always delivered himself in the same, you know, just brash,
Yes.
you know,
hmm
dishonest sort of way.
yep,
Um, before he even ran for president. So he showed his character then. And
Yep.
when you see someone with such questionable character, you're like, "Ugh, I don't want this guy representing the country
Right.